Buenos días, amigos. Como todas las semanas nos encontramos en su programa desde la EEA, desde la Estación Experimental Agrícola. Y en la mañana de hoy tengo el gusto de que esté con nosotros en nuestro programa el doctor Ackerman, que es el director del Herbario del Recinto Universitario de Mayagüez. Buenos días, doctor Ackerman. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. Thank you for having me on the program.
Para mí es un gusto, it's a pleasure for me to have you here again. El doctor Ackerman nos había acompañado ya en otra ocasión y tuvimos un programa bien interesante sobre las orquídeas de Puerto Rico y hablamos un poco sobre ese valioso libro de referencia que él escribió sobre todas las orquídeas que hay en Puerto Rico y en el Caribe.
Bueno, parte del Caribe es Antillas Mayores.
Okay,
so
Antilla.
We're missing the Bahamas and the Lesser Antilles. Yeah.
Pero es un trabajo bien completo,
Sí.
bien exhaustivo sobre, ¿verdad? Sobre esa variedad de plantas, así que lo recomendamos también, pero también el doctor Ackerman es director del Herbario. Doctor Ackerman, ¿qué es el Herbario?
An herbarium is a museum. It is a museum of plant specimens. So when we think of museums, we think of art museums or sculpture or even a zoology museum. But herbaria are museums of dried plants generally, but sometimes we have things preserved in different media.
Muy bien, esto es bien interesante. Los herbarios son unos museos. No estamos hablando de colecciones de plantas en vivo. Son plantas que han sido conservadas, preservadas para el estudio de la ciencia, ¿verdad?
Oh, sure, yes. And the way we preserve the specimens is very simple. Anybody can do it. All you need to do is when you collect a specimen, you press it flat and you dry it, and that specimen will last for actually I don't know how long they last. I was at the British Museum of Natural History in London, and I was working on a project amongst the cabinets full of millions of specimens they have there, and one of the curators came to me and says, "Well, Jim, would you like to see some of Sloane's specimens?" I said, "Sloane?" Well, Sloane was a collector and businessman in Jamaica in the 17th century. Excuse me.
O sea que las plantas bien preservadas.
And so exactly, and I went and I said, "Wow!" And he showed me these specimens, and they were collected in 1690.
Impresionante.
And they look just like they were pressed yesterday. And so, these things can last forever.
And the temperatures?
Well,
Eso es bien importante, la temperatura, ¿verdad?
well, London is cold. Yeah.
Puerto Rico es húmedo y caliente, ¿verdad? Hay una pequeña diferencia y ustedes tienen temperaturas controladas en el herbario, ¿no?
Oh, absolutely. We need to maintain the temperature as cool as we can keep it, and in fact, everywhere in the world they do this. If you go to another large herbarium is the Missouri Botanical Garden in St. Louis, and they have millions and millions of specimens. And if you go to visit the herbarium to work on specimens there, you better take your down jacket.
Oh, yeah?
Because they keep it in I guess about 60s, about 65 degrees, which is okay. You just walk in, it's kind of cool, and actually it's kind of like this almost.
But if you're not moving?
Yeah, if you're not moving and you're just sitting down there, woo.
Okay.
So the problems for preserving specimens are the same pretty much anywhere, but they're more acute here in the tropics. So we have to be vigilant, trying to keep the temperature down, the humidity down, and then our collection is small enough that we rotate the specimens through freezers.
Okay.
So the biggest problem are domestic beetles, and there are some other insects that can get in there and munch on the dried specimens. But,
Que esas son las polillas, los comejines.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And it's a beetle, and they will devour a plant, and so sometimes you know in a poorly curated specimen you look at the plant and it's just nothing but beetle poop all over. That's all that's left. And of course they always eat the most important parts of the specimen first, and that'll be the flowers and the fruits.
And Doctor, who used the herbarium?
We have a lot of different users, and of course one of the most important users are scientists that need to study a plant group if they're doing classification and taxonomy, trying to identify species or describe species or write floras. The herbarium is absolutely essential for that. And then, so that's the taxonomy side of things, and a lot of ecologists come. Since here in Rio Piedras, we don't have a lot of taxonomists, people classifying plants, but we have a lot of ecologists, and they're constantly coming into the herbarium and saying, "What are the plants I'm looking at? Can you help me identify them?" And of course, we offer that service to help identify plants.
En las plantas está la historia también, the history is in the plants also.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The students, do you have many students that use the herbarium as a research tool?
Oh, sure. It's not just people who carry around a PhD in their pocket that show up at Herbaria.
Exactly.
In fact, since our herbarium is on campus, Rio Piedras campus of the university, most of our visitors are actually students. And, university students, undergraduates, and of course, graduate students. And they are usually coming in to try to get things identified. And then a lot of students work in the herbarium because they want to learn how to do museum techniques, what's involved. And so we have volunteers coming in and helping out in that regard. In addition to that, we have high school kids.
Okay.
And elementary school kids that come and
Es importante
visit.
para que se interesen, para que conozcan.
Oh, they always come first because of our zoology museum, which I'm also director of, and that's because the teachers know about the zoology museum and the kids know about animals, and so they come. But the zoology museum is right next to the herbarium.
Y llegan allí.
So we always, if it's a full-size class and not just a small group, we always split them up in two. One half goes to the zoology museum, the other half goes to the herbarium, and we tell them all about the specimens, show them lots of different things.
It's important to familiarize the students with the plants and with other things than animals.
They would have no idea that kind of resource is there. And occasionally we get police departments interested in the herbarium. There was one case where a disgruntled employee at a company on the island put something in their air conditioning system that made everybody itch. Well, so they had samples of this fiber, and they brought it to me to find out what it is, and I recognized the hairs Different plant groups have very distinctive kinds of hairs on them, and I recognized the hairs, and I checked the herbarium and looked and make sure that the specimens we had this exact same kind of hairs, and I said, well, it's this plant that the fibers are coming from. You don't have to worry about it other than it being itchy.
¿Ustedes están coleccionando plantas todo el tiempo? You are collecting all the time, preserving?
Yes, we are constantly collecting. We have a collections manager, Dr. Frank Axelrod, and he's been, he's collected quite a few specimens. I think something like 15,000 or so. I don't remember exactly what his numbers are, but he wrote a book about the plants of Puerto Rico, a checklist, and that was published just a couple years ago. And then he is now looking at the flora of St. Eustatius and also Ceiba. These are little islands in the northern Lesser Antilles that are part of the Caribbean Netherlands. And,
Caribbean Netherlands.
Oh, some people go to Ceiba. Ceiba is, in Espanol, is Saba, so it's not to be confused with Ceiba in Puerto Rico. But on Saba, people like to go there because it is the highest point in the Netherlands. So Mount Scenery is 800 something meters high. And so if you want to go to the highest place in the Netherlands, you have to go to the Caribbean to do it.
Okay.
But anyway, so different islands, we're concentrating on different islands. We've gotten a lot of specimens from St. Lucia, and of course St. Eustatius, Ceiba, Saba. And then, of course, my work throughout the Antilles. We have and exchange programs with other institutions. We have a good sampling of specimens throughout the Caribbean. In fact, we focus on the Caribbean. We have a few other specimens elsewhere, but...
pero es una colección muy importante para nosotros.
Exactly.
And do you have exchanges with Mayagüez Herbarium, Botánico?
Yes, we do have exchange programs with Mayagüez. We don't have with the Botanical Garden. And that is... and the reasons for that is that the two herbaria are right next to each other, and then the other.
You don't have to.
We're less than a mile apart. Yes, they're not literally next to each other, but the idea this leads to the idea of databasing the collection, and Mayagüez has all their specimens databased, and I think they have between 25,000 and 30,000 specimens. And in Rio Piedras, we have all our specimens, almost all. We have a few things that we still need to database, algae, I think, and fungi. And bryophytes, but the vascular plants, the flowering plants, and gymnosperms and ferns, they're all databased. And then we are making big progress with databasing the collection here in the Botanical Garden, where Eugenio Santiago is director of the Botanical Garden. I think he had a little chat here too.
Sí.
Yeah. And then we are also doing that for Recursos Naturales. They have a small herbarium there, and they have...
Y tienen intercambio también con ellos. And what about the private universities?
No, there aren't any herbaria in the private universities. So it's just the biggest one And the fastest growing one is here in Rio Piedras on campus of Universidad de Puerto Rico. And then the next largest is, I guess, the Botanical Garden here,
Yes,
and then Mayagüez,
so.
and then in Recursos Naturales is
Es la más pequeña.
is más pequeña, and that was developed by George Proctor when he was a botanist at Recursos Naturales.
Pero se comunican.
Oh, sure.
All of you
All
have
of us.
communications.
Oh, yeah. We are. We have the same goals, and we wanted to make sure that we could communicate very easily through our database and our websites. We're using the same program and almost the exact same protocols.
O sea, la información fluye de todos lados.
Yes. So you can, at present, you can go online and get the data that's on the labels of the specimens. And that's where the history comes in. You can learn a lot about Puerto Rico in the past by looking at the collections from the past, what the flora really
true,
actually
it's
looked like.
true.
You can find out when was the first invasion of a particular species noticed by a botanist, by going to the collections and find out when a certain invasive species was first collected.
Okay. Si yo quiero visitar el herbario, sola o con un grupo,
Both.
¿qué tengo que hacer? What I have to do, I have to call you, I have to dates.
Well, the best thing to do is to write an email message. We are currently having problems with our telephones over there, but so the way to communicate with us is is by email, and then.
Can you tell us your email?
Well, I suppose I could.
I hope.
Yeah, my email is Ackerman, that's ACKERMAN .UPR @gmail.com.
Okay, you have a Gmail.
I have a Gmail account.
Okay.
Well, the university changed their email system so frequently that I just said, oh, forget it, I just get Gmail
Así
and
que
use
ya
that my big
saben,
one.
amigos, si se quieren comunicar con el herbario del recinto universitario de Río Piedras para hacer una cita, para obtener mayor información, ustedes van a Ackerman, ACKERMAN .UPR @gmail.com, y allí entonces el doctor Ackerman les contestará para coordinar una cita para su visita. Como sabemos, a veces hay problemas con los teléfonos, así que creemos que o el doctor no necesariamente está en su oficina en el momento que usted llame, así que creemos que lo más fácil, ¿verdad? Y lo más efectivo es que usted se comunique al correo electrónico del doctor Ackerman. Entonces allí pues coordinarán la visita si ustedes creen que es necesario. Do you have many graduate students?
I have a few graduate students, and I have a lot of undergraduates that are working there. Excuse me.
They are del Departamento de Botánica,
Departamento de Biología.
de Biología, y allí estudian botánica.
Sí. So there's a number of people there, and you don't have to have an appointment to visit, but as you were saying, sometimes,
Puede
we're
llegar
not there.
allí. Exacto.
You take your chances if you drop by,
Pero
but you're welcome.
Muy bien, gracias. Puede ser que usted llegue, lo encuentre a él y que esté disponible, ¿verdad? Que no esté ocupado y él pueda atenderlo, pero mejor es hacer una cita con él para que lo pueda recibir. Y si no es él, tal vez lo puede recibir algún estudiante, ¿verdad? Si usted no está.
Yeah, sure.
Algún estudiante, algún teacher assistant.
Yeah, my collections manager, my undergraduate and graduate students, all know how to introduce people to the herbarium, and they will give talks about it. And so, everybody is prepared. The other thing to find out more information is go to our website. And,
eso es interesante. Tienen un website, si usted nos puede dar la dirección también, porque pueden referirse directamente y si tienen más preguntas, más información, entonces se refieren al doctor Ackerman.
herbario.uprrp.edu.
herbario.uprrp.edu.
Sí. And that has the email accounts for collections manager Frank, and maybe for Fabiola. Yes, Fabiola Areces, my graduate student. She works on systematics of Malvaceae, the cotton family.
Fabia Areces.
Fabiola Areces. Fabi Areces.
Fabi Areces @yahoo.com es una de las estudiantes graduadas del doctor Ackerman, así que si usted necesita también comunicarse con ella con el herbario para alguna información, pues puede referirse a Fabiola, que es la dirección que le dimos de Fabia Areces @yahoo.com, y entonces con ella puede coordinar una visita o conseguir información adicional.
And she is also the creator of the virtual flora of the El Verde field station. So it's
Recuerden también que en las notas, en la introducción de nuestro programa, ya sea en Facebook o cuando usted vaya a buscar en la biblioteca, va a encontrar, le vamos a poner allí la dirección del doctor Ackerman y la dirección también de Fabiola, su ayudante, para agilizar el proceso de que usted pueda comunicarse con el doctor. Si para recibir grupos también a través de Fabiola, ¿verdad? O de usted.
Yeah. Fabi is she is actually probably the most important person in the herbarium.
Ella es la que está aquí siempre y la más que sabe.
I mean, there's me as the director and there's Frank as the collections manager, but Fabi somehow manages to find time to help visitors constantly. She is our favorite person to be the face of the herbarium. She's very good, very knowledgeable person. So she's a good person to contact.
Okay.
Yes.
Ya saben, Fabiola es la persona que más fácilmente va a hacer su trabajo de comunicarse con el herbario y coordinar cualquier apoyo que el herbario le pueda dar a ustedes que nos están escuchando y que le interesa saber sobre los trabajos que se realizan y las colecciones que tiene el herbario de plantas de Puerto Rico y de algunos lugares del Caribe, pero concentradas mayormente en plantas de Puerto Rico.
Plantas de Puerto Rico, sí. Tenemos bastante specimens de Puerto Rico.
Quería preguntarle, doctor, también en la biblioteca de la Universidad de Puerto Rico pueden acceder a literatura, libros que usted haya escrito, boletines que usted tenga o los compañeros, ¿verdad?, del herbario como resultado de investigaciones que ustedes hayan trabajado.
Well, some of the best literature for the study of plants is right in the herbarium. We maintain a library there. People donate books for us. We have exchange programs.
En el mismo herbario.
Very same place. And it's a better collection for identifying plants than the Natural Sciences Library.
Okay.
So we're fairly well equipped to identify just about any plant collected in the Caribbean. So we try to keep up.
Toda la información.
Yeah, all the information is. But of course now, there are so many more resources online than just library books. So
Sí.
The combination of the two is fabulous. Yeah.
Yo creo entonces, según lo que nos dice el doctor, que si ustedes entienden que deben ser más ágiles buscando la información, es mejor referirse al herbario porque ellos tienen allí la referencia de todo lo que se publica relacionado con el tema de plantas, así que es más fácil referirse al herbario que ir a la biblioteca porque ellos lo tienen todo clasificado e identificado para facilitarle el trabajo a usted. Doctor, queremos felicitarlo, ¿verdad?, por un trabajo tan importante para Puerto Rico. Como usted dijo, uno puede conocer la historia a través del herbario, qué es lo que ha pasado en nuestro país a través del tiempo, a través de las colecciones que ustedes también preservan allí. Así que muchas gracias por lo que hace y sabemos que esto va a servir para futuras generaciones. No se queda aquí, es para el futuro. Muchas gracias y qué bueno que pueda estar con nosotros y nos gustaría que en otro momento que usted tuviera información importante, ¿verdad?, además del herbario como el libro, viniera donde nosotros primero, nos interesa escucharlo.
Well, thank you very much for having me once again, and it's been a pleasure as usual.
Ajá, y el placer ha sido de nosotros. Muchas gracias. Amigos, a ustedes buenos días. Espero que les haya interesado el programa de hoy. Hemos estado hablando del herbario del Recinto de Río Piedras y recuerden que la próxima semana vamos a tener otro programa para usted y nos puede buscar y suscribirse en la siguiente dirección: http://biblioteca.eea.uprm.edu/ desde la EEA. También puede conseguirnos en Facebook y dirigirse allí a Desde la EEA. También puede bajarnos en iTunes. Y si usted tiene algún comentario, algún tema que le interese, puede referirse al bibliotecario de la Estación Experimental Agrícola, luis.mendez4@upr.edu. Que tenga un lindo día y recuerden, los esperamos la próxima semana.